Dear friends, dear internet users, welcome to the 100% Tatarstan. It's not just good afternoon, this is, I say it in Tatar. Dear friends, today we are in Kazan, but I am sure that this video, this discussion, this dispute will be interesting for all people in Russia, for those of you in Moscow, in Chelnabys, Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, because I hope that in 1 hour we all will understand, including me, if the good milk can be available, not expensive, will have good quality, and if there are any problems with it. And here we have collected the cream of the milk community, let me put it this way. We have this government people, retail producers, but I will be here as a buyer. As we all here, we get to the shop, we just try to make choice what to buy, pay more, pay less. So let me introduce our guests today. The government is represented by online Nikolai Volasov, Deputy Head of the Veterinary and Phytosanitary Control, from Alla Pagozheva, Head Researcher of the Biotechnological Research Center, Professor from the Ministry of Health of Russia. Alla, hello. Next to her, Marina Potyashina, Head of the Consumer Protection Agency, Republican Tatarstan. Hello, Marina. Now producers, represented Artyom Belov. He is online, General Director Soyuz Moloko, Alfar Galiyev, Director General Zelnodolsky Milk Company. Svetlana Bayrasheva, Deputy Director of Agrasila Milk Production Company. Alena Beloglazova, Head of the Farm Beloglazova. Hello. The retail representatives, Timur Bainmulin, Head represents X5 Retail Group. Victor Glaskov, Commercial Director of Bechitle. I was in Bechitle today. I went to the milk shelf to see something, maybe something. We have a lot of different milk. Has anything changed during this 2020? Milk. So what about sales? Up, down? Milk and dairy product, it's quite a stable market, stable sales. And during these economic turbulences, milk is quite stable. And as milk as a product, it's just quite stable. So if there is stability in this world, so it's milk sales. All right. Yes. Let me ask producer. From 2020, was it difficult, or it's just usual, or something happened which it's on the way and it's made your life difficult? As for our specific company, I can't say that it's just something different. Worse than other years, we had some problems with connected with some limitation with the COVID crisis, but I believe that we overcame them. Okay, if we set aside pandemic, we're talking about so-called Mercury system. What is Mercury? A lot of people say good things and not good things. So my question is, there are people who like this Mercury system. In perfect world, this system must help us to choose milk, to make educated choices. So anybody could get to the shop assistant and ask this Mercury certificate with all the story about milk or its place of origin. But as I understand, there are a lot of technical peculiarities. So companies must buy special equipment. It might raise the prices. I think you're confused a little bit. A Mercury system has been around more than 1 year. Mercury works already, and it has been working for 1 year. And milk companies all milk companies work with this computer. We use the databases, Mercury. And now you're talking about digital marking, which we have to have from next year. Well, this is, yes, true. Tons of questions, a lot of negative feedback from producers, because if we talk about our opinion, we completely disagree with it, because what we have now, Mercury system, can monitor the product, and we plus to that, additionally, we have to put the code on every packaging, which is 50 kopecks each code, and we have to buy ink for printers, stickers, and we have to buy expensive equipment. That's exactly what you say. And for our company, Agrosila, we'll have to pay about 70 million rubles. It's just one-time investment, which not many companies can afford because it is expensive, which will go into price. Because now what we say is the final price will go up to 1 ruble. It's just one package of butter, yogurt, kefir. If we talk about butter, it's not so much, but it's a 15% increase, and I believe it's not the right time when people's incomes going down. So in a situation, so yeah, okay, great. Let's just increase prices on important food products because it's duplication. So we believe that Mercury is enough, and we don't need anything else. Nikolai Vlasov, deputy head of the Federal Veterinary and Sanitary Inspection. I would like to say that in dairy industry, thanks to government and milk industry sector, situation isn't as bad as we read in the mass media, and I have to say that this tendency is improving, and I would say that the efforts from milk producers, because since last year they started very active work. They monitor their own market and other markets. I know our colleagues from Rospotrebnadzor, Minister of Agriculture, and Roskачество worked very. As for Mercury, you don't need any equipment for Mercury. Big companies, of course, need the IT support in order not to slow down their work. And what Mercury allowed us to find about and close about 2,000 fake companies. Just small example. If I want to produce falsified butter, before this system, anywhere, just around the corner or even in the flat, I can register company, and according to this address or other fake address, print labels and packages and just sell it in the retail stores. But now we closed hundreds and hundreds of these kind of so-called producers, and we get thanks for this Mercury. Well, we say why? Well, they say that we can be on the municipal level. because there were a lot of falsified products on the municipal market. So Mercury is not a guarantee, but Mercury helped us to it's very, very difficult now to produce falsified products and it's difficult to falsify a product, and the situation just does not give us a chance to relax. I will not talk about marking of the products. I cannot discuss government decisions because the decision is made already. You can discuss it, not me. So this is the story. And if you have any questions, I can add. Thank you very much. That's you're a diplomat as well. Okay, so my question is to Marin Patyashina. Do you have any information, statistics about quality of milk in Tatarstan? And yes, we have our supervision department monitors the quality of milk. We check more than 1,000 companies. These are the retail companies, the food industry, our producers, and children catering, public catering, and suppliers of this food. And when we check these facilities, we check 100% of products, 10,000 samples, and tests what we do in Tatarstan. And if we talk about chemical and physical indicators, like for example the fat content, local tests about 4% of all production. For many years we haven't found pesticides, antibiotics. Our tests didn't show them. The radionuclides we haven't found for a long time, toxic elements. But as for the falsified products, in 2017 the share of falsified products in retail was quite high, 27%. Every third, yes. Mostly they had the vegetable oil, which was not in the product. It's a cheap to make the product cheaper. But we resorted to very rigid, very severe punishment, and of course it allowed us to decrease amount of these products. In 2020 we have less raids, we have less checks. It's now no more than 6%. As for the local producers, I have not any problems with the local manufacturers. It's we're talking about basically products which are brought from other regions or so-called the ghost companies which sell these products. In our republic, we found 50 so-called ghost companies, and we work together with the police and law enforcement. Tatarstan knows what milk is. Tatarstan is number one in producing milk. A lot of people in Russian Federation, they think that imported milk is better quality. Do you agree with that? No, I completely disagree, because dairy products imported, perishable products cannot get to the Tatarstan. If it's imported, so they have a long shelf life. That means they have some additives, conservatives, which allow them to prolong the shelf life. At the same time, we, as the government agency, we check in laboratories or milk. Do you buy milk? Do you have special brand? I don't have favorite brand. I buy local. For example, Zelenodolsk milk. I buy local. I buy only milk. I buy only local. They have pretty. I have a small child, 3 years, and I buy just milk. Do you buy a farmer's milk? My parents buy farmer's milk. They have time to go to the market. They know farmers who buy this, who sell this milk. I'm very busy and I go to big retail chains. But my parents do buy, and they buy fresh milk. They just boil it, make cottage cheese. Can we just check the topic a little bit and have this little dietology? All nutrition specialists, they say that milk is good until 5 o'clock, and after that you better refuse from it. What do you think about it? What does science say about it? Yes.
Unfortunately, we do see that kind of, say, attacks on milk, and this doesn't influence the health of our population for the better. Decrease in consumption of milk leads to osteoporosis. In the Institute of Nourishment, we have been doing research, and we have seen that those who are not consuming enough milk are seeing decrease of properties in tissues, such as milk has availability of protein as well as various vitamins. Well, if you take a look at youth, they are choosing lower fat or fat-free. Well, it does because calcium is a mineral component that is related either with cysteine or inorganic elements. But once again, this all started with the fact that there are two things that are related with milk. One is allergy for milk and lack of lactase enzyme, which is decomposing it. In that sense, we can use a replacing element which is called non-milk. But when you use this non-milk in case of children, you should remember that non-milk can also have allergies for various nuts. In that sense, you should be almonds, etc. You should be remembering when you can introduce them. Whilst the nut, coconut, as well as almond should be introduced later, maybe 2 years old and later. Does everyone drink milk? Yes. And do you have any lactase? Everybody is drinking. So everyone, in case of my husband, I do see that my husband doesn't drink, and he doesn't have no need and doesn't have any milk at all. Fermented dairy products are just fine. You can eat kefir, cheese, even the respective indicators. In case my mom is not drinking milk since the age of 5, and she's eating cheese. It has calcium, and cheese is actually the best source of calcium in hard cheeses. Your daily calcium needs are available in 100 grams of cheese. Okay. Next question of mine is dairy products of the future. I can't even think what we can have, what can we invent. That you might have a specialized products. We are talking about lactase, lac, and lactase-free milk is necessary for some categories of our citizens. Then obviously people that have allergies for milk, as well as various categories of our citizens. Let's say our sportsmen, many sports drinks and sports foods are based on milk-based compounds, as well as the patients that have osteoporosis, all their products are also very much enriched with various microelements, but once again, it's milk-based. Okay, let us stop with our diet into a break and let us look at what do people choose. Do they prefer price? Do they prefer some authority? Well, if you take a look at the decision tree of our clients, I would assume that price is too simplistic. It obviously wouldn't justify the way people are identifying, making the choice when they are approaching the shelf. They are first assessing fat, share of fat, then it's pasteurized or not. Only then they are going to preferences. In case of Tatarstan, it's in top 3 in consumption of 279 kilos per capita a year historically here, and since two producers of milk have about 20% share around the country in each region, those producers have an important weight, and colleagues represented here are one of the leaders in the chain, in our chain, and overall in business. Zemka is present throughout the country. Thus, the consumers are very much satisfied, both price and quality. And in case of your farm, is that big or small? Not that big, but you're working with retail. It's challenging, but it obviously forces us to work on ourselves. As a person who is working with Bechatli since 2014, we did work with X5 for some time. We did work with Ashans. Nothing is simple, especially in milk production. Yes, we do work with these colleagues. Not work. I understand that farmers' milk is somewhat more expensive than the milk of large producers. There is different segmenting. If we won't be talking about pricing. Talking about farmer's milk. Farmer's milk doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that it's always non-pasteurized. It means that we are keeping short shelf life, having milk that produced that milk. Thanks to Mercury, we can send milk, and then we can keep part of it, and we can sell it without using, say, additional preserves. I have a question that I didn't yet receive an answer. It's believed that the less is the shelf life, the better it is. On the other hand, the longer is the shelf life, the more comfortable with enterprise the production is clean, no technologies are kept, no microorganisms are there. In that sense, I don't think that the longer is the shelf life for milk, then it is less natural. So I guess I would like the concept of larger enterprises. How would you agree with my opinion? Shelf life of dairy product depends on processing technology. It can be 3, 5, 7, 10, 14 days, up to 3 months and half a year. It depends on technology. And your products, different ones, some 10 days, some half a year. As a proponent of natural food, the shorter is the shelf life. The faster we are getting fresh produce, it is better for our body. The other question is that you are not losing, say, useful qualities, but it's also some code, which there are also bacteria in the milk. At the same time, if you are not storing it properly, the milk will go bad. But ultra sterilized milk, it's not bad for you chemically, But if you'd like to have your microflora in your gut, and after the pandemic, everyone started thinking how to fight faster with the virus to get out, we need to speed up the process inside. For that, we would need to speed up microflora, and I would help. I would say that some medical comments. I was unable to pass the information, but when we are talking about non-milk, it's fashionable. When people without medical indication are giving up milk, they are losing the chance to have enzymes that decompose milk. If you haven't drank milk for a year, you might have a problem by giving up milk altogether. And you've got osteoporosis. That's a logical chain. And then here I would be insisting on the fact that now during the pandemic, people increase the demand to farmers' milk as natural, not as farmers as production, but because it's believed that it's more. Even Lay's is farmers. People want to have more natural. May I share something? May I put some fly in the ointment? We bought farmers' eggs, and the one that we bought from the poultry farm, which was 5 times cheaper, no difference in micro whatever. So the question is, why do I need to pay 240 rubles, 5 times more for eggs that have that farmer's tag? I would request permission in any category, dairy or non-dairy. What we are selling is defined by the market and the consumer. If there is a demand of society for farmers' products that quite correctly have their functional elements, that has fresher food, has grown with hands, with love, and has certain differences from the mainstream that is produced from larger producers, we would be putting that on shelves, and we would be developing in milk, in retail, and in business. I don't think we are developing any different from the world. If there is some demand for organic food, there is added value difference in price tag, and yes, it will be a difference about 30%. If people are buying, why they are paying an extra dollar, it doesn't cause any kind of anger. I believe we would be going the same pathway. Non-milk, we need to understand it's a wonderful marketing step, but we have to be honest, it's a bioproduct, a useful product, just like cocoa milk, but it's not milk, which is a irreplaceable source of calcium. Those are two different consumption paradigms. When your colleague was speaking, your face was demonstrating that you disagree. Let me just give the name. Svetlana Bayrasheva, aggressive. I would say that the milk is milk. We are organizing that in the centralized process with equipment, but you are doing it with hands, but it's the same milk. It's not come from space. You got it from cow as well. I just compared it with sterilized. Sterilization doesn't have any additions. Sterilization 138 degrees of temperature, which is the reason why it can be stored for 6 months, plus additional packaging of 6 layers of protection, which leads to a shelf life of 6 months, a world technology invented by Tetra Pak, and whole of the world consumes that milk. So in that sense, if we speak about milk, precisely, then the myth that it would be removing toxins and heavy metal and salts of the heavy metals, that's a myth. Whilst we're talking about the guts, we obviously need lactic acid milk product. In that sense, I would believe that those are identical products, but just someone prefers to buy other products, that's okay. For some, the farmer's milk, otherwise there is no ground to say that it's pure, better, etc. All cows need to be cleaned. You should know them by name in some communities. It's obviously a discussion of what is better. But still, we do have such trends. Those are, say, two sides. They will be standing for their own opinions. Although, Ivan, would you please comment if there is significant difference between sterilized and non-sterilized? Component-wise, not significant. Some components were being lost, mainly vitamins. Calcium is there. Protein is changing, but not significantly. Thus, composition doesn't change very much. In this sense, we need to take a look of the purposes you're buying the milk. If you drink the liter right away, you can have non-pasteurized, but if you want to store it, pasteurized is better. And take about a sterile pasteurized milk. When I was interacting with representatives of large milking companies and experts, they were saying that 5 years ago that consumption of sterile milk was dominant, and everyone thought that the situation would stay there. Right now, the situation is changing, and over the course of last 3 years, we have seen redistribution of preference towards non-sterilized, and originally the better quality milk was going into milk of longer shelf life. Yes, that's true, because it wouldn't be able to stand this pasteurization. I'd like to invite Artyom Belov to our conservation. I hope you hear. You have discussed so many questions. If you give me 15 to 20 minutes, I'd be able to comment everything. I guess 2 points I would like to accentuate here. Obviously, dynamically growing market of herb-based products and is observable. Obviously, they can't replace milk. Nothing to do with milk, and we are very active to make sure that we distinguish the difference between these products so that we wouldn't have anybody to be naming some plant-based products as non-milk. They shouldn't be cannibalizing our category using the positive image by selling a different product to consumer. The other thing I would like to draw your attention to is large set of myths about cheap, expensive products, farmers or organic, etc. In here, there are a number of aspects, technological and market ones. Our consumers want a diversity of products. Someone eco, someone wants farmers, someone long-term shelf life. And market is very competitive. Consumers have a choice of the product they prefer. Thus, producers are giving that chance. Different products from smaller farms, from larger producers, but from the point of view of quality and security, I can say that all of them are from cows. Somewhere is from a small farm where there are 3 to 5 cows, and the farmer is actually collecting milk himself, packaging food, and delivering to the market. Somewhere those are larger farms with processing larger ones. Our farms with 5,000 or 6,000 cows there, where milk is produced, this wonderful product, very quality, wonderful parameters, low somatics, microbiology, very high level. And the reason why milk is not going bad, for example, in Soviet Union, milk was going bad in 3 days' time. That is not very good. That most likely because the quality of milk and somatics in the milk was very low quality. Good milk today, with very light pasteurization, can be kept 7, 8, and even 10 days with a light pasteurization. Not because they added something into the milk, but because the milk is very pure. Now, talking about the prospects of the market, if you take a look at the dynamic for the period of last 30 years, 30 years ago in Soviet Union times, we had 10 dairy products. Right now, we have a diversity of them. And more than that, more products are appearing in the marketplace. Who knew Greek yogurt 10 years ago? Now you have Icelandic yogurts. There are many products that are based on the serum base, such as for senior population, for sportsmen, etc., etc. We are seeing more and more goat milk products becoming popular, cheeses and yogurts, etc. So dairy industry is dynamically developing, satisfying the needs of consumers. I believe it's a good story. Consumption in Russia at the moment is about 200 kilograms per capita. In Tatarstan, it's significantly higher because the region is not only leader by production processing of milk, but also on consumption. Overall, though, throughout the Russia, we do see potential of growth related to cheeses. We don't consume enough cheeses. We are only consuming 4 kilograms, while it's a wonderful product from the point of view calcium, useful fats, very good product with a diversity of choices, soft to hard cheeses, and traditional categories would be developing also very actively. Thus, I believe that dairy market is also interesting, very diverse, and the potential is great. And of course, 2020 did challenge us with the pandemic, but I don't think that all producers felt the decrease in demand, because part of the consumers spend their otherwise vacation money for consumption. We have seen significant increase in products that can be consumed at home, such as sour cream, yogurts, butter. And thus, at home, not all producers have seen the decrease in demand. At the same time, we should remember there are great risks early second half of third quarter, fourth quarter, and year 21. Incomes have decreased very much. Year-on-year, GDP has fallen down in second quarter by 4%. Available income has decreased significantly. It's a great risk for many producers. That's what we would face not now, but when we have finished our vacation money, would go out of lockdown, we will start saving on dairy products as well. There is a very clear link. We will see that, and we have seen in the year 15 and 16 where decrease of income by 4% led to the consumption decrease by 3.5%. We can face that a little later.
And the government can stimulate the consumption on one hand. On the other hand, of course, fight with fake products and falsification. We have Mercury changed the technical rules and regulations. So, but we still have this segment of the government purchasing, state purchase, procurement, government procurement, and I think that should be the priority for the next year or the two, and we have to be involved in, because there a lot of complications. If in the stores will not see falsified product, but of course in the segment of the government procurement, a lot of violations. Still, I'm very positive about milk market. Its potential in the internal market, an export, and our export grows, and plus 25% half year compared to the last one, because ruble dropped as a currency, and the broader assortment of exported food, and thanks to the controlling agencies of Russian Federation. But of course, sometimes problems do exist, but I believe that we will solve them. 90% of our products we export in the CIS countries, at Belarus, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, and we export cheeses and ice cream, about $300 million, good brands with high value added, yogurts, desserts. Outside the CIS, about 10%. China, for example, China buys a lot, and we export ice cream and traditional milk to China, and I hope that soon we'll export dry milk and serum. And I think that would you like to add something? It's difficult to say something. It's our big problem. As for the other milk products, we are the company which is growing, and we do everything to manufacture to satisfy anybody. And it is the advertisement. But do you have enough raw materials for it? Well, raw materials is just a separate story. And cheese producers say that sometimes they don't have a good raw material. It's about quality of raw materials. Well, there are people who work and improve their quality, and they can provide good raw materials. There are small businesses, smaller companies. We support Mercury system because apart from having, we work together with the retail chains. We work with the other buyers because if, for example, sometimes we just lose the documents, and now at the moment you sell milk, the database registers your milk, and we are protected with this system. What else would you like to say? We implemented, there will be fines for the abuse of mercury, for violation rules. Same punishment will be for wrong marking. And some companies, it's difficult. They have to pay extra money. But they continue working, so small businesses do participate in this milk production. So we think that we need to upgrade or update this system and make it better, so not to punish companies for some violations where they didn't want to make. So I learned a lot. Thank you very much for your input. I believe that a lot of people who listen to us and people who go to the store will now know and understand better, and people will be more informed and will be have chance to make better choices in the stores when it comes to milk, and will be healthier.